Now, at the Royal Ascot today, the bookies' favourite, Frankel, raced to an 11th straight victory in the Queen Anne Stakes. But it's the fashion stakes which are really causing all the controversy. Female racegoers have to comply with a more stringent dress code this year if they want to make it into the royal enclosure. Skirts have to be almost knee-length or longer. Dresses have to have shoulder straps at least an inch wide, and hats a base of 4 inches or more. Fascinators, a sartorial trend endorsed by some of the younger royals, are not allowed. So is this dressing to impress or simply old-fashioned? Well, with me in the studio is the presenter and model Lizzie Cundy and Liz Brewer, author of The Ultimate Guide to Party Planning and Etiquette, both of whom have been at the Royal Ascot today. And what a get-up, both of you.
Both in yellow. Can't believe it.
That is a fascinator, though, isn't it? You couldn't get into the royal enclosure with that.
I did actually get into the royal enclosure because it is 10 centimetres, so it is actually a hat.
And you actually measured that, did you?
I had to measure it. I had to get my ruler out and check. And my lovely friend that hosted the event, Jackie Sinclair, that you've just seen on your footage there, had a big Union Jack bow, but because it was the right length, she could, you know, host the royal enclosure. But
Liz Brewer, it is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? People getting out their tape measures and, you know, this stipulation, the headpiece has to have a base of 4 inches or more in diameter. And it's also inconsistent, isn't it? Because there was someone with a get-up of a bird cage with bird cages on her head, and here it is. I mean, this was allowed, and other sort of more conservative outfits weren't. It's a nonsense.
Hang on a minute, was she actually in the royal enclosure?
I couldn't. I wasn't there myself.
Because there's a difference between going to Ascot. But the wonderful thing about Britain is they have something for everyone. If you want to be in the royal enclosure, then they have rules. The men have to keep their top hats on unless they go inside, then they take them off, or unless they're greeting a woman. If you're in the royal enclosure, they have rules which over the years have just disappeared. So what they've done in one fell swoop is try to bring them back. OK, this year they're being quite fierce and stringent about them to make a point. And I agree with them, because it has become very... They've forgotten how people used to dress.
But you have to say, the whole point of the race is obviously to go and see the horses win, but it's the fashion. That's what we love. That's what's on the front pages.
Go to Ascot, but don't go to the royal enclosure.
No, even in the royal enclosure, it's so sad. I saw a woman there today with a tape measuring, checking. She was so worried that her skirt wasn't long enough. And the whole thing about the race is whether you're in the royal enclosure or not, it should be fun. You know, you can't. You've got rules.
You've pretty much given the game away, though, haven't you? That this is really about the fashion police trying to keep it. It's a class war. The fashion police trying to keep out the hoi polloi.
It's not a class war. It's not a class war. It's to do with, if I'm going to an occasion and it gives me a dress code, then I'm going to adhere to the dress code. I'm not going to turn up at black tie dinner in trainers and jeans and a t-shirt.
But the races is all about, it's so sad you can't show your legs off in the
Lizzie,
royal enclosure.
Yes,
you can't. Because you have to be on the knee. It has to be on the knee.
Enclosure?
Because you want to be in the, if you've been asked to go into the royal enclosure, it's lovely to go and be able to wear a shorter skirt.
But Lizzie Cundy, you've said yourself, not all wags are empty-headed slappers, but knicker-skimming skirts, I mean, that's a bit slapperish, isn't it?
Well, of course it is, and you have to do the right thing, and no one wants to see that. But what I'm saying is, I just feel, especially Ascot, is so beautiful. Everyone looks at what the ladies are wearing. I mean, we all love the fashion. That's what gets the press. The front pages tomorrow will all be about the fashion.
Listen, it is, and it's wonderful fashion, but there is something at Ascot for everyone. You don't have to be in the royal enclosure. If you go to White's, which I didn't see you in White's today. I didn't actually even see you in the royal enclosure.
I was in the royal enclosure. I was with the lovely Cow family and Jackie Sinclair that hosted it.
But if you're going to balk about the fact that for the first time they've decided in many, many years to say, right, things are getting out of control. The skirts were getting too short. There was too much sort of arms and breast.
I agree with you. I think you have to look respectable.
You look perfectly fine.
Thank you. But I think you do have to be respectable.
Wonderful.
Obviously, we don't see girls being drunk, falling over, and
showing
their underwear. But what we're saying is, just if I get invited to the royal enclosure, I have to basically make sure my skirt's a certain length. My hat is just going too far. It's not. We're not at boarding school.
The Queen arrives in an open-topped carriage. Surely it's right to have a bit of decorum about it all.
I'm sorry, as I just said, we're not at boarding school. This is all about fun. It's all about the fashion. It's so sad now. We've got this ridiculous rules and more rules.
No, Lizzie, I totally disagree with you. There is something, you can be the other side of the track, you can be in Tattersalls, you can be in the grandstand, you can be in the boxes. You can be
Well,
anywhere.
you know what?
You can be in the restaurants, you can be in the lobster
But if
bar,
I get
and
invited
have
as a
fun.
guest to go to the royal enclosure, to the box, I have to now have my skirt on my knee.
No, in the
have
box you don't have to.
But you do.
The boxes aren't in the
yes,
royal
but in the royal
enclosures.
enclosure, we wandered down. I had a pass. There were people that couldn't get through because their skirts were too short.
No, they couldn't get through because they
This
didn't
is
have
gonna
a
run
badge.
on. Lizzie Cundy, Liz Brewer, thank you very much for joining us both. John.
After the break, it is her first visit to Britain in almost a quarter of a century, and for much of that time, she's been under house arrest in Burma. But returning on her 67th birthday, Aung San Suu Kyi has been talking about her detention and how it feels now to be free.